When a blessing is near, the first sign is not found outside, but within. Something in you shifts. You wake up with a calm certainty, a quiet inner whisper that tells you everything is already settled. It no longer matters if the world shows evidence or not, because the inner conclusion has been reached. The seed is planted, and you know it must bear fruit. Another sign is the release of struggle. You stop grasping, chasing, or forcing things to happen. Instead, you live in the peace of knowing it is unfolding on your behalf. This detachment is not indifference, it is confidence. You no longer measure by appearances because you understand appearances are only shadows of what is forming in the unseen. Then comes a new wave of gratitude, not the kind tied to visible results, but a thankfulness that rises without reason. You find yourself smiling, thankful for life, thankful for possibilities, thankful for what cannot yet be touched. Gratitude before evidence is the magnet that pulls the unseen blessing into view. As you live in this state, the old picture begins to fade. The patterns of lack, fear, or worry lose their hold. The story you once told yourself no longer feels real because a new image has replaced it. This inner picture is not a daydream, it is creation itself. For what is seen begins always as what is imagined. Soon, life begins to mirror your inner shift. Synchronicities show up, small signs, conversations, unexpected opportunities, or even gentle reminders in unlikely places. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that the unseen reality is taking shape and the world is rearranging to deliver it. The strongest sign of all, an unshakable assurance. You feel it in your bones. Nothing can convince you otherwise. The blessing is yours, it is done, and you are simply walking toward the moment when the invisible becomes visible. So when you notice these signs within and around you, rejoice. It means your blessing is not far, not delayed, not uncertain. It is right around the corner, already waiting for you to meet it in perfect time. When the blessing is near, the very first sign does not come from the outside world, it is born within. There is a sacred moment when something in your spirit shifts. It feels as though the wrestling has ended, the questioning has grown silent, and the long nights of uncertainty give way to an unexplainable calm. This calm is not dependent on circumstances. In fact, the outer world may still look the same, but inside you, a new reality has been accepted. It is as though the answer is already settled in another dimension, and you are simply waiting for time to catch up with what is already true. This inner shift is not loud, nor does it need dramatic evidence. It is subtle yet undeniable. You wake up and sense that what you longed for is no longer in the category of someday, but has quietly moved into the realm of done. Even before your eyes can see it or your hands can touch it, the heart has already claimed it. This is the moment creation truly takes root, for everything seen begins first as an unseen conviction. The calm you feel is not laziness, nor is it resignation. It is the deep knowing that your desire has been answered. You no longer chase or beg. Instead, you rest in the security that it already belongs to you. That peace you carry is the first sign that the unseen blessing is near. It is as though the soul whispers, "Be still, for it is done." This shift often surprises you because it cannot be explained logically. Nothing in the external world may have changed, yet inside you no longer feel the same pressure or fear. The doubts that once shouted loudly now lose their power, and the voice of assurance becomes steady and firm. This is when you notice you can think of your desire without strain, without worry, without desperation. Instead, you smile at it like a memory already lived. That is, the seed of manifestation. It has matured within you before it can bloom outside of you. The reason this inner calm is so powerful is because it demonstrates alignment. You are no longer at war with yourself. The mind, the heart, and the spirit are all in agreement that the blessing is already yours. Once this harmony is reached within, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it in due time. It is the same way the soil must eventually show the life of the seed planted within it. So if you begin to feel this unexplainable peace, do not dismiss it. Recognize it as the signal that what you asked for is on its way. Do not search frantically for evidence or signs in the physical world, for the greatest sign has already been given, the quiet assurance inside of you. When the inner world settles, the outer world must follow. This is the unshakable truth. Your blessing is closer than you think, and the stillness you feel is proof that it has already been secured. Detachment from struggle is one of the most powerful signs that your blessing is right around the corner. For so long, the human mind is conditioned to believe that the harder you push, the faster you arrive. Yet when it comes to the unseen reality of blessings, forcing only signals resistance. The moment you release the grip, the moment you stop wrestling with how or when it will happen, something profound takes place within you. You begin to live in trust rather than tension. And in that trust, the blessing finds its perfect channel to reach you. When you detach from struggle, it does not mean you stop caring about what you desire. It means you stop holding it with a clenched fist. You no longer demand that life show you results immediately, nor do you bargain with time. Instead, you live as if it is already done, knowing that all things are arranging themselves in the unseen to bring your desire into form. This shift turns your energy from striving to allowing, from resistance to flow. And when you are in flow, the blessing can arrive with ease. You will notice the difference in your daily life. Before detachment, every delay feels like a threat, every obstacle looks like a mountain, and every silence seems unbearable. But once you release the struggle, you no longer interpret delays as denial. You recognize that time is simply the unfolding of what has already been secured. You stop seeing obstacles as barriers and begin to understand them as stepping stones. You no longer panic in the silence, for you know the silence itself is pregnant with fulfillment. Detachment is faith in action. It is the living proof that you believe what you desire is already yours. You would not struggle for something you already possessed. You would rest in the certainty of having it. And so it is with blessings. They come not to the one who clings, but to the one who allows. Your calmness becomes the evidence of your inner conviction. This calmness sends out a clear signal that aligns you with your blessing, while struggle and desperation only blur that signal. As you rest in the knowing, you begin to see life differently. You notice beauty in small things. You stop being restless about tomorrow and instead appreciate today. Gratitude naturally grows because you recognize you are not waiting for a blessing. You are walking with it, even if your physical eyes have not yet seen it. This is the secret of detachment. It transforms waiting into receiving. So when you find yourself no longer chasing, no longer forcing, but simply being, Take it as a sacred sign. You are not giving up. You are giving in to the truth that your blessing is already in motion. You are allowing the unseen to deliver itself without resistance. And in that release, the blessing draws closer, effortlessly, inevitably, until it meets you in the perfect moment. There comes a moment on the journey toward your blessing when gratitude begins to rise within you without any visible reason. It is not tied to an outcome, a breakthrough, or a sudden shift in your circumstances. Instead, it is born quietly, as though your spirit already knows what your eyes have yet to see. You wake up in the morning with a sense of thankfulness, not because everything looks perfect, but because deep within you feel the blessing has already been secured. This heightened gratitude is not a reaction, it is a sign, a signal that you are aligned with the reality of what is to come. True gratitude is not limited to saying thank you after receiving something. That is ordinary gratitude, a natural response to a gift that has already arrived. But extraordinary gratitude is when you thank life before the blessing becomes visible. It is when you say thank you in advance, knowing the invisible is just as real as the visible. This kind of gratitude is the fragrance of faith. It carries the sweet assurance that you are walking toward a future already written. When this feeling begins to flow through you, it shifts your entire state of being. You find yourself smiling without cause, appreciating simple moments, and seeing beauty in what once felt ordinary. The gratitude does not come from what you hold in your hands. It comes from the knowing in your heart. It is as though you already touched the blessing, already experienced it, and are simply reliving it in anticipation. This is why gratitude becomes magnetic. It attracts the very thing you are thankful for, because you have already welcomed it inwardly. This heightened gratitude also silences fear. Fear feeds on lack and uncertainty, but gratitude feeds on fullness and abundance. The more thankful you become, the less room there is for worry. You stop questioning when or how it will arrive, because you are already celebrating its arrival in your spirit. In that celebration, you open the doors wide for the blessing to step in. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is the language of alignment, trying to communicate to life itself that you have accepted your blessing as done. The beauty of this state is that it cannot be faked. It is not forced or pretended. It rises naturally when the inner picture has become real to you. At first, it may surprise you to feel so thankful without explanation. You may wonder, why am I so at peace? Why do I feel this joy when nothing seems to have changed? But that is the very evidence that everything has changed inside of you. The blessing has already been conceived, and gratitude is the sign that you are carrying it until it appears in form. So when you find yourself overflowing with thanks for no visible cause, rejoice in that moment. It means you are in the right state, the state where blessings manifest with ease. Gratitude before evidence is the greatest proof that your desire is already yours, and soon the outer world will catch up with the inner truth you have already embraced. There is a sacred turning point on the path to your blessing when the old picture begins to fade away. It does not happen with force or struggle. It happens quietly, like the slow lifting of a morning mist. The thoughts of doubt, fear, and lack that once had such power over you begin to loosen their grip. They may still attempt to rise, but they no longer dominate your inner world. Instead, a new picture begins to form in your imagination, a picture filled with abundance, peace, and fulfillment. This is not a fleeting daydream. It is the inner reality taking root. A vision so alive that it feels more real than the world outside. At one time, the old picture was your constant companion. You rehearsed worry, replayed failure, and expected lack. You lived from the memory of what had been rather than the possibility of what could be. Those images felt heavy and familiar, as if they were the only story available to you. But when the blessing is near, those images lose their color. They no longer captivate your mind or stir your emotions the way they once did. You find yourself less interested in repeating the old story and more drawn to the new vision that rises within you. This new picture of abundance does not demand effort. It grows naturally once you have shifted your state. You might notice yourself imagining outcomes that feel joyful and secure. You see yourself living the life you once only hoped for, and instead of feeling far away, it feels natural, even inevitable. This is the creative power at work. What you hold consistently in imagination begins to define the atmosphere of your being. It shapes your expectations, and soon enough, it shapes your reality. As the old picture fades, so too do its emotions. Fear loses its sharpness, doubt becomes quieter, scarcity no longer stirs panic. Instead, the emotions tied to the new picture begin to take over. You feel calm when you think of the future. You feel joy as if the blessing has already arrived. You feel strength because you know you are no longer a prisoner of the past story. These emotions are proof that the roots of the new vision are deepening. The most powerful part of this shift is that you no longer need external validation. Even if circumstances have not yet changed, you already live in the new image inwardly. You do not wait for evidence to confirm what you know. The knowing itself is enough. And because life reflects the dominant images held within, the outer world will eventually align with the inner vision. So when you notice that the old picture of doubt and lack no longer has power over you, rejoice. It means the blessing is near. The fading of the old and the rising of the new is the unmistakable sign that you are no longer living from the past, you are living from the future already secured. The story has changed, the vision is alive, and soon the world will mirror the abundance you have allowed to take root within. When a blessing draws near, life itself begins to whisper. Subtle synchronicities appear, little hints, gentle signs, and quiet alignments that reveal the unseen is moving into form. These synchronicities are not random, though at first they may seem small or insignificant. A conversation overheard, a number that repeats, a chance encounter, or a phrase that speaks directly to your heart. Each one is an echo, a reflection of the inner reality you have already embraced. They arrive not to convince you, but to remind you that what you have accepted within is now unfolding without. The power of synchronicities lies in their subtlety. They do not announce themselves with trumpets. They arrive softly in the flow of ordinary life. Yet, something about them captures your attention. They carry a resonance, a sense that they are speaking directly to you. This is because the outer world is beginning to align with the inner image you have chosen. What you hold consistently in imagination begins to impress itself upon the fabric of life, and life responds with mirrors that reflect it back to you. These signs may feel like coincidences, but as they continue, you realize there is no such thing as coincidence. The deeper truth is that everything is connected. and your inner state is always shaping the pattern of your experiences. Synchronicities are evidence that the shift has already taken place inside you. They are confirmations that you are no longer living in the vibration of lack or doubt, but in the vibration of fulfillment and abundance. These alignments also serve another purpose. They strengthen your faith. Each symbol, each reminder is like a breadcrumb on the path, guiding you closer to the visible manifestation. They reassure you that you are not lost, that you are not waiting in vain. The blessing is moving, the pieces are arranging, and the world is cooperating to deliver what you have already received within. This is why it is so important to notice and honor these subtle signs. They are encouragement from the unseen, showing you that the fulfillment is not only possible, it is inevitable. As you continue to encounter synchronicities, you begin to walk with a greater sense of expectancy. You no longer wonder if your desire will come. You know it is on its way, because life itself has begun to echo it back to you. The repetition of patterns, the alignment of circumstances, the unexplainable timing of events, all are proof that the outer is bending toward the inner. So when you see these subtle synchronicities, do not dismiss them. Let them remind you of the deeper truth. You are a creator, and what you hold within is always shaping what unfolds without. The blessing is near, and life is already preparing the stage. Every sign you notice is a quiet announcement that the unseen reality is drawing closer, ready to take form in your world. The whispers of synchronicity are not accidents, they are promises, gently confirming that your blessing is right around the corner. There comes a point in the journey where all doubt falls away and an unshakable assurance emerges. It is not the result of outward proof, nor is it born from favorable circumstances. In fact, the outer world may still appear unchanged, yet within you there is a steady conviction that cannot be shaken. You know without question that the blessing is inevitable. It no longer feels like a possibility, it feels like a certainty, as though time itself is simply catching up with what has already been established in your belief. This assurance is not loud or boastful. It is quiet, steady, and unmovable. It feels like standing on solid ground even while storms rage around you. Circumstances may suggest lack, delay, or impossibility, but none of it has the power to sway your inner knowing. You no longer measure truth by appearances. You measure truth by the conviction within. And in that conviction, you live as though the blessing is already here, because in a deeper sense, it already is. When this assurance takes root, it changes the way you experience life. Waiting no longer feels like waiting. Instead, it feels like walking towards something that is certain, like moving through the chapters of a story whose ending has already been written. Patience becomes effortless because you no longer question the outcome. Hope matures into faith, and faith matures into knowing. This is the strongest position you can hold, for nothing external can disturb the peace of a settled conviction. The beauty of this assurance is that it does not depend on willpower. You cannot force it or pretend it into being. It arises naturally when you have truly accepted your desire as already accomplished. At first, you may have to nurture the vision, repeating it to yourself, planting it again and again in imagination. But once it takes root, it grows into a tree so solid that no wind of doubt can uproot it. That is when you realize the blessing is not coming, it has already come, and you are simply aligning with the moment of its unveiling. This unshakable knowing also transforms how you react to challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles as setbacks, you view them as part of the arrangement, leading to fulfillment. Instead of questioning delays, you recognize them as divine timing, aligning every detail for the best outcome. Nothing feels wasted, nothing feels threatening, because you are anchored in the certainty that all things are working together for the arrival of what you have already received inwardly. So when this assurance rises within you, treasure it. It is the final sign, the clearest indicator that your blessing is right around the corner. Life may still appear unchanged for a moment, but appearances no longer matter. You already know the truth. The blessing is inevitable, secured, and unfolding exactly as it should. And when you carry that assurance, you cannot be denied, for you are aligned with the reality that nothing can prevent. Time is simply delivering to you what your belief has already claimed. When all these signs begin to show, the calm of the inner shift, the release of struggle, the gratitude that flows without cause, the fading of the old picture, the gentle synchronicities, and the rise of unshakable assurance, it becomes clear that your blessing is no longer a distant hope, but a present reality. These are not random feelings or fleeting moments. They are the evidence that the unseen has already been planted and is now pressing into form. Your task is no longer to chase, to doubt, or to worry, but simply to remain in this state of knowing until the outer world catches up with the inner truth. The blessing is certain, the outcome is secure, and you are already living in its light. Thank you for listening, and may you walk with confidence, peace, and joy, knowing that your blessing is right around the corner. Reality is not the master, it is the servant. The stage of life does not write its own script. It only performs the words spoken in the silence of your assumption. Every experience you live today once lived in the hidden corridors of your mind. What you accept inwardly, even casually, reality is compelled to shape into form. Your assumption is a decree. It does not wait for permission, it creates the path. When you occupy a state of consciousness, whether of abundance, success, love, or lack, the outer world is powerless to refuse it. Reality must obey the tone of your inner certainty. It may disguise its obedience through delays or appearances of resistance, yet all such resistance is only a shadow of your own doubt. The moment faith stands firm, shadows dissolve. It is not effort that wins, but assumption. You do not need to push the river. You only need to believe it flows in your favor. The conviction that it is so rearranges events, circumstances, and even people to confirm your decree. What the senses deny and reason rejects will still yield to assumption when you persist. Reality bends quietly, sometimes invisibly, until the moment it bursts into visibility. Suddenly, what once seemed impossible feels natural, as if it could never have been otherwise. That is the secret of assumption. It transforms miracles into inevitabilities. Do not measure with the yardstick of the outer world, for the outer is always late. Instead, dwell in the invisible fact, the inner knowing, and refuse to leave that state. When you live in the end, reality must obey, for it has no choice. It is law. So I tell you, your assumption is the prophecy of your future. If you wish to change your world, do not wrestle with appearances. Simply assume the new reality, persist in it, and reality will have no choice but to obey. Imagination is not a passing thought or a fleeting daydream. It is the very workshop of creation, where reality takes its shape. Every event that unfolds before you, Every circumstance that surrounds you is born from the secret chambers of your imagination. What you assume inwardly, what you accept as true in the silence of your mind, does not remain confined within. It presses outward until it hardens into fact, and you meet it as the so-called external world. The outer is nothing more than the echo of the inner, the shadow cast by the light of your assumptions. To imagine is not to escape reality but to govern it. When you see yourself in possession of the desired outcome, when you dare to believe in the unseen as already real, you plant the seed from which your future must spring. Life has no choice but to conform to that vision. It may appear as if imagination is powerless compared to the brute facts of the world, but it is in truth the only power that creates and sustains those very facts. It's important. The chair you sit upon, the home you live in, the work you perform, all were once invisible imaginations in the mind of someone who dared to believe. The act of assumption is the secret key. To assume is to clothe the invisible with the feeling of reality, to walk in the world inwardly convinced that what you desire is already accomplished. This inner acceptance creates a vibrational command that the outer world must obey. You may not see the mechanism by which it operates, yet its operation is law. Circumstances shift, people move, and opportunities arise, all orchestrated by the unseen hand of your assumption. The tragedy is that most imagine unconsciously. They accept fear as fact, they dwell on limitations, they rehearse failure in their inner conversations, and then they wonder why life offers them hardship. They do not see that reality has only mirrored the content of their imagination, yet the same principle that creates lack will just as faithfully create abundance when you redirect it by choosing to imagine wisely, to assume the best, to feel the truth of your desire already fulfilled. You turn the tide of your destiny. Imagination does not ask whether you deserve. It only delivers what you persist in assuming. The moment you claim within that you are healthy, prosperous, loved, or successful, you are rewriting the script that life must perform. Hold that assumption with persistence. Let it saturate your mind and emotions, and the outer world is compelled to echo it back. It may come swiftly or gradually, but it cannot fail, for imagination is the creative cause. Do not take your inner world lightly. Guard the images you entertain. Cherish the visions that uplift you, and refuse to dwell in states that contradict your desire. For what you imagine with faith today will rise up as your lived reality tomorrow. Imagination is not idle fantasy, it is creation itself, and what you assume within must one day walk before you as fact. Assumption is the true beginning of every manifestation. Long before a dream becomes visible, long before a result appears in the world of senses, it is born in the quiet chambers of consciousness as an inner acceptance. Life does not unfold according to effort, struggle, or striving, but according to the invisible convictions we hold as true. When you assume something with certainty, you give it permission to solidify in form, for assumption is the seed from which manifestation grows. Without the seed, no harvest is possible, no matter how much labor is applied in the fields. Effort has its place in the physical realm, but it is secondary, never primary. A person can toil endlessly and yet remain bound in frustration if inwardly they carry the conviction of failure. On the other hand, another may act with ease, even lightly, yet see doors open before them because inwardly they have assumed success as their natural state. The difference lies not in the amount of work done, but in the unseen posture of consciousness. Effort without conviction is like rowing against the current, exhausting and unrewarding, but assumption with conviction is like placing your vessel in the stream of power that carries you effortlessly forward. Assumption is not idle wishing. It is not daydreaming without substance. It is the inner act of claiming a state as real and allowing it to color your feelings, thoughts, and responses. When you assume health, you carry yourself as though health were already yours. When you assume abundance, you respond to life from the awareness of already having enough. This inner certainty attracts circumstances that reflect the assumption, for life has no choice but to mirror the truth you have inwardly accepted. So this kind of manifestation is never accidental. What appears as chance or coincidence is only the outward echo of what has been assumed inwardly. Even delays, detours, and difficulties are not random. They are the shadow play of conflicting assumptions. If you wish to transform your world, do not wrestle with appearances, but change the assumption that precedes them. By adopting a new conviction, you plant a new seed, and in time the harvest must appear. The world teaches us to fight harder, push longer, and strain further. Yet this is the way of futility, if the inner conviction remains unchanged. True transformation begins not with effort, but with the invisible act of assumption. When you occupy the state of the wish fulfilled, life bends to serve you. People are moved, opportunities arrange themselves, and what once seemed impossible becomes natural. It is not force that produces this, but faith in the unseen reality already secured in consciousness. Tend carefully to what you assume. Let conviction precede every step you take, and let your consciousness rest in the end already attained. When you live from that place, manifestation is inevitable. Effort may follow as a joyful expression, but it is assumption that opens the way, and life cannot help but yield to the conviction you hold. The unseen governs all that is seen, for the outer world is nothing more than the visible reflection of the invisible state of mind. Every circumstance, every relationship, every so-called accident in life is secretly ordered by the assumptions and convictions held within. Though it may appear that events unfold randomly or that other people determine your fate, the truth is that your inner state silently commands the state of life. The world is a mirror, obedient to the impressions impressed upon it by consciousness. Your state of mind is not neutral. Each thought, belief, and feeling is a creative cause, sending out an unseen command that arranges circumstances to harmonize with it. If you live inwardly in a state of fear, the world must bring forth reasons to confirm that fear. If you dwell in lack, opportunities for more lack will inevitably appear. But when you persist in the unseen conviction of abundance, peace, or success, life bends itself to make your invisible state visible. The unseen does not wait for proof. It is the root from which the branches of your outer world grow. This is why mere effort, logic, or external control often fail. One may try to manipulate conditions or force results, yet if the inner state contradicts the effort, the unseen will always prevail. A person may attempt to attract wealth, But if inwardly they live in poverty consciousness, their efforts collapse or bring fleeting results. Conversely, someone who inwardly assumes wealth will find it manifest through channels unforeseen, often with minimal struggle, because their inner command was certain. The unseen shapes the path, moving people, events, and even so-called chance encounters to fulfill the state already established within. The great secret is to take control of your inner world, for it is the only true cause of change. By deliberately occupying the state of mind that matches your desired outcome, you send forth a silent decree that reality must obey. This inner state does not shout or struggle, it simply exists. And the outer world, being powerless to resist, rearranges itself to reflect it. When you live in the end, when you feel as though your desire is already realized, you step into alignment with the law that governs creation. It is tempting to measure life by appearances, to believe that what is seen is the cause. Yet the seen is always late, always a shadow of what was previously assumed in the unseen. To argue with appearances is to fight with an echo. The wiser course is to change the sound that produces it. By shifting your inner state, the echo of life must also shift. Thus, if you desire transformation, withdraw attention from the chaos of circumstances and turn inward to the unseen. Cultivate the state you wish to experience outwardly and persist in it with quiet certainty. The invisible will not remain hidden for long. It will solidify into the visible, and you will see before you the undeniable evidence that the unseen always controls the seen. Persistence is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. To assume a state once is not enough. The outer world often lingers in its old form, echoing past assumptions. Many give up too quickly, mistaking delay for denial. But the truth is simple. The world bends only to the one who remains faithful, the one who refuses to abandon the inner vision no matter what appearances suggest. Persistence in assumption builds certainty, and certainty is the invisible magnet that draws the outer world into harmony with your inner state. Every assumption is like a seed planted in the soil of consciousness. A seed requires time, care, and consistency before it rises into visibility. To dig it up in doubt or to abandon it in impatience is to cancel its growth. Yet to water it daily with faith, to persist in seeing it as already accomplished, ensures its inevitable fulfillment. The law cannot be broken. Persist, and the seed must bear fruit. The senses are often the greatest enemy of persistence. They scream with evidence of lack. They parade facts that contradict your desire. They demand that you believe what is seen rather than what is unseen. But persistence requires a deeper loyalty, to remain unmoved by the temporary, to anchor yourself in the conviction that your inner vision is more real than the shifting world outside. Each time you return to your assumption, each time you reaffirm it in the face of contradiction, you strengthen the roots of certainty. Certainty does not come at once. It grows through persistence. At first, the assumption may feel fragile, like pretending, yet the more you inhabit it, the more natural it becomes. Soon, the inner state no longer feels like a possibility, but a fact. And when you reach that point, when your desire feels as real inwardly as anything you see outwardly, the world has no choice but to reflect it. This is why persistence is the secret of transformation. The outer world is slow to change because it is only a reflection of prior convictions. But when you hold steadfastly to a new assumption, reality must eventually bend to it. Appearances may resist, circumstances may seem stubborn, but they are powerless against unwavering inner faith. They are only shadows of an old belief, and shadows vanish when the light of persistence shines long enough. To persist is to refuse to abandon your vision, to dwell daily in the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it becomes your natural dwelling place. When this state becomes normal inwardly, life cannot help but mirror it outwardly. The world may delay, but it cannot deny. The moment you persist long enough for assumption to harden into certainty, manifestation is inevitable. Hold fast to your vision. Do not measure by appearances. Do not surrender to doubt. Persist in your assumption until you feel its truth, and the world will bend. For persistence in assumption is the law that makes the invisible visible. Obstacles are never what they appear to be. What the world presents as resistance is not an immovable wall, but only the faint shadow of old beliefs. Life has no power to oppose you except through the reflection of the assumptions you once held. When you embrace a new vision and begin to live from it, the old reflection may still linger, casting shadows of difficulty, delay, or contradiction. Yet shadows have no substance. They cannot stop the light. They only signal that the light is already shining. In the same way, outer resistance is powerless before the strength of unwavering belief. When you assume a state with conviction, reality is already in motion to fulfill it. The so-called obstacles that appear along the way are not proof of failure, but evidence of transition. They are the remnants of prior assumptions dissolving as the new state takes form. Many become discouraged at this stage, surrendering their vision to appearances. But the wise understand that resistance is only the echo of what once was, and echoes fade when the voice that created them is silent. By refusing to yield to fear, by holding firm to belief, the shadow of resistance vanishes and the new reality stands revealed. Consider how the sun dissolves the night. Darkness may seem overwhelming, but it is never permanent. The moment light persists, darkness retreats. Likewise, unwavering belief is the light that dispels the illusion of obstacles. You do not need to fight shadows, you only need to remain faithful to the vision you hold. Every seeming challenge, every delay, every rejection loses power when you see it for what it truly is, a temporary appearance with no substance of its own. The outer world reflects your inner certainty. When belief wavers, resistance grows larger because the shadow is magnified by doubt. But when belief is steady, when you refuse to be moved, resistance shrinks until it dissolves altogether. This is why it is said that faith moves mountains, not because the mountain has real power to block you, but because unwavering faith strips it of illusion. The mountain was never solid. It was always only a shadow cast by disbelief. Every great transformation requires persistence in the face of apparent obstacles. The world will test your resolve, not because it holds power over you, but because the remnants of old assumptions still echo in form. When you choose not to accept them as final, when you refuse to be intimidated by appearances, you rise above them. In that steadfastness, the shadows vanish, and the reality of your assumption emerges in clarity. Meet resistance with calm assurance. Do not fight, do not despair, do not yield. See it for what it is, a passing illusion without strength. Anchor yourself in the conviction that your inner vision is already true, and no shadow can withstand the light of unwavering belief. Obstacles fade, illusions dissolve, and reality reshapes itself, for the outer world cannot defy the strength of faith that refuses to surrender. Reality does not govern you, it serves you. What you hold as conviction within is the true master, and the outer world is nothing more than its obedient servant. Many believe they are at the mercy of circumstances, that life is dictated by chance, effort, or the decisions of others. Yet this is a misunderstanding of the law of creation. The world does not operate independently, it reflects the command given to it by your inner state. The moment you assume and remain faithful to that assumption, reality has no choice but to obey. Conviction is not mere wishing, it is the inner knowing, the quiet acceptance that something is already so. When you take an assumption and clothe it with feeling, when you dwell in it until it becomes natural, you are writing the script that life must perform. The outer world may delay, it may rearrange itself slowly, but it cannot deny what has been established in conviction. Reality has no creative power of its own. It is only a mirror, and a mirror cannot reflect anything except what stands before it. This is why fleeting thoughts or casual wishes often fail to manifest. They are not convictions, but passing clouds. Only when you assume and remain, when you hold steadily to the inner vision regardless of appearances, does reality receive the command it must obey. Your persistence communicates certainty, and certainty is the language creation responds to. Life cannot resist conviction, it must bend to it, for conviction is the true lawgiver of experience. Think of a stage play. The actors do not decide their own lines, they follow the script. In the same way, circumstances and people in your life are compelled to play the parts assigned to them by your inner conviction. If you assume rejection, life will find a way to deliver it. If you assume favor, doors will open where none seemed possible. The power does not lie in the outer, but in the conviction that directs it. Remaining in assumption requires discipline. The senses will attempt to pull you away, showing you evidence that contradicts your desire. Yet those appearances are only reflections of older convictions, already fading. If you abandon your assumption too soon, you reinforce the old reflection and delay the fulfillment of the new. But if you remain faithful, returning again and again to the state of the wish fulfilled, reality is forced to align. It cannot do otherwise, for it is not the master, but the servant. This is the great secret. You need not beg reality to change, nor struggle to manipulate it. You need only decide inwardly what is true, assume it with conviction, and remain there. Life will take care of the rest. Paths will open, people will appear, events will shift, all in obedience to the unseen decree of your consciousness. Reality has no freedom of choice. It is bound to serve the conviction you hold. And when you persist in that conviction, the world must obey. In conclusion, the thread that unites all truth is simple yet profound. Imagination shapes reality. Assumption precedes manifestation. The unseen commands the seen. Persistence transforms vision into certainty. Resistance is but a shadow, and conviction is the law that reality must obey. Life does not stand apart from you, it bends in perfect obedience to the state you occupy within. When you choose to live in the end, to hold fast to the invisible with unwavering faith, the visible has no choice but to yield. Your world is not a stranger to your desires, it is their servant. Guard your assumptions, remain steadfast in belief, and you will find that reality continually arranges itself to reflect the truth you have claimed. Thank you. Today I invite you to awaken to a truth so simple, yet so profound. The world you experience is a mirror of your own assumptions. Every circumstance, every encounter, every moment is a reflection of what you have assumed to be true within yourself. Your imagination is not a playground for idle thoughts. It is a workshop of reality. Whatever you persistently imagine with conviction and feeling begins to take form in your life. The mind does not differentiate between what is real and what is vividly assumed. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you live mentally in the state of having already achieved your desire, the outer world must conform to this inner reality. Your inner belief always precedes outer change. Before a mountain is moved, a thought must dwell in the mind with unwavering certainty. Before opportunity arrives, it is already imagined. When you believe yourself successful, loved, or fulfilled, the world has no choice but to align with your state. Attention is the creative force. What you focus on, what you dwell upon, and what you consistently entertain in your imagination carries magnetic power. Your assumptions act like seeds. The thoughts you nurture, especially those rooted in feeling and conviction, will grow into your external experience. But assumption alone is not enough if it flickers and fades. Persistence is the key. A fleeting wish will not shape the world, but a sustained inner reality will inevitably manifest. Hold your mental image, feel it fully, live it internally, and trust that reality bends to the shape of your inner state. Release and trust. Do not struggle with the how or attempt to force details. When you act from the certainty of your fulfilled desire, you allow unseen forces to orchestrate the circumstances that align perfectly with your assumption. The universe is not against you. It is always ready to mirror your inner convictions. So today, embrace this power. Assume the state of your desired reality now. Walk as though it is already yours. Live as if your wish is fulfilled, and watch how reality itself begins to align with you. The power of assumption is the power to shape your world, and it is already within you. Thank you. Your imagination is not a mere escape or a pastime. It is the very foundation of your reality. Everything that appears in your external world has first been conceived within the mind. When you imagine something vividly, with feeling and attention, it begins to take form in the unseen realms, laying the groundwork for its inevitable manifestation in your physical experience. The thoughts and images you dwell upon are not neutral. They carry a creative power that shapes the events, circumstances, and relationships of your life. Each day, countless possibilities are born and discarded within the mind. Yet only those you entertain with conviction and persistence hold the potential to enter your reality. This is why the quality of your imagination matters far more than the quantity of your effort in the outer world. When you imagine something as real and feel it to be so, your consciousness aligns with that reality. It is not enough to casually think about a desired outcome. The mind must fully inhabit it, experiencing it as if it already exists. The feeling is the vital ingredient. It breathes life into the imagined scene. Your imagination becomes a stage upon which you act out the fulfillment of your desires, and the universe, responding to this inner drama, begins to mirror it in external life. What you assume inwardly, with Vivid sensory detail and unwavering belief becomes the blueprint for all future experiences. Every person you encounter, every circumstance that unfolds, is drawn toward the resonance of your imagined state. Persistence in this imaginative activity is essential. A fleeting thought, a casual daydream, does not have the power to alter reality. But when an image is held continuously and is lived in with emotion, it begins to solidify. The mind, sustained in a certain assumption, impresses itself upon the subconscious, which in turn orchestrates the circumstances necessary for its realization. Even obstacles and delays serve a purpose. They are simply the outer world's way of aligning with your inner conviction. The imagination must be treated with reverence, for it is the hidden engine of creation. Your imagination governs your perception. The world you see is filtered through the lens of your inner assumptions. If you imagine lack, scarcity, or failure, those conditions manifest as your reality. Conversely, if you imagine abundance, joy, and fulfillment, the world bends to reflect these states. This is not mere coincidence, it is the law by which consciousness operates. Your inner world is the seed, and the outer world is the harvest. What you persistently imagine and feel as true is the invisible force that shapes every aspect of your life. To master your circumstances, begin by mastering your imagination. Cultivate scenes that represent the life you desire. Feel them deeply, believe them unwaveringly, and live within them mentally. By doing so, you activate the power that always lies within, the power to shape your reality, to attract your desires, and to transform your life from the inside out. The external world is simply a reflection, a mirror of the states you assume in the theater of your mind. What you imagine with faith and persistence becomes inevitable. The secret to manifestation lies not in struggle, effort, or external tactics, but in the inner state of assumption. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to immerse yourself fully in the mental and emotional reality of having already attained your desire. It is to act and think from the perspective of accomplishment rather than yearning, from a place of certainty rather than doubt. When you live mentally in the state of fulfillment, you impress upon your consciousness the undeniable reality of your desire, and the outer world cannot help but conform to that inner truth. The moment you embody the feeling of your wish already realized, your mind ceases to resist, and the subconscious mind takes over to orchestrate circumstances that mirror your assumption. Feeling is the cornerstone of this process. A mere thought without the depth of emotion is insufficient to produce change. The subconscious responds to the emotional reality you cultivate, not to idle ideas or casual imaginings. Therefore, it is essential to evoke the sensations associated with your fulfilled desire. Imagine the joy, the relief, the satisfaction, or the pride you would feel if your desire were already yours. Live in that state with intensity and consistency. The mind, guided by this vivid inner experience, begins to reshape perception, attract opportunities, and direct action toward the manifestation of that which you have assumed as real. Persistence is essential. It is not enough to experience the feeling sporadically or to indulge in momentary daydreams. You must dwell continuously in the state of fulfillment, reinforcing it with imagination and emotion until it becomes second nature. This is the art of assumption, to maintain the inner reality as if it were tangible and undeniable, regardless of current external appearances. The outer world may seem slow to change, but it is merely waiting for the inner conviction to solidify. As long as you live from the assumption, the external conditions cannot resist aligning with your internal state. This practice transforms your consciousness. When you assume the wish fulfilled, you are no longer a passive observer of life. You become the conscious architect of your reality. Your desires are not distant or uncertain, they exist as present facts in your imagination. This shift in identity, from lack to fulfillment, from longing to possession, creates a magnetic resonance that draws circumstances, people, and events into harmony with your inner state. You do not chase reality, reality comes to meet you. Faith in this inner assumption is the key. Doubt or impatience weakens the creative power of your feeling. Trust that the inner state, once genuinely assumed, is already active and shaping the unseen forces around you. Let your actions, your words, and your thoughts flow naturally from the certainty of fulfillment, and you will witness the miraculous alignment of circumstances. By assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you step into a reality that exists first in consciousness and inevitably manifests in the world outside. Every change in your external world begins first as a change within. Your inner belief is the invisible architect of your life. It sets the blueprint for every experience you encounter. Nothing in the outer world can surpass the limits of what you assume internally. The circumstances, events, and interactions you perceive are merely reflections of your inner convictions. When you recognize this truth, you understand that reality is not a fixed external force dictating your life, but a mirror responding faithfully to the state of consciousness you occupy. To alter your reality, you must first alter your assumption, for the world cannot manifest what is not already alive within your mind. Belief is not a casual thought or wish. It is a deeply felt certainty. It is a conviction that your imagined state is not only possible, but actual. When you hold a belief with unwavering certainty, your subconscious mind, which governs all outer conditions, aligns itself with that conviction. Your imagination becomes the invisible workshop where realities are crafted. Every circumstance, every person, every opportunity you encounter is drawn to match the inner state you maintain. This is why inner belief precedes outer change. The unseen always shapes the seen, and the world responds to the fidelity of your inner conviction. Today, on track to see, today, many people look outward for evidence or validation before they dare to believe. But this is a reversal of the natural law. Outer conditions cannot be the cause of your belief. They are the effect. If you wait for circumstances to shift before you feel assured, you remain a prisoner of the external world. Instead, assume the state you desire internally and allow the outer world to conform. This is the creative power of consciousness. The mind conceives, believes, and feels, and the outer reality obediently reshapes itself to reflect that inner life. Every limitation, every challenge, and every apparent obstacle is simply a reflection of unexamined beliefs. By changing the assumption, you change the lens through which you view life, and the world cannot help but change in response. Persistence and imagination are essential in this process. A fleeting belief or temporary hope is insufficient to produce lasting transformation. You must dwell constantly in the state you wish to see manifested. Live mentally and emotionally as though your desired reality is already accomplished. Feel it, experience it, and carry it in your consciousness until it saturates your being. The outer world, unable to resist the inner reality, will begin to yield. Opportunities, events, and people will appear in perfect harmony with the state you have assumed. In understanding that inner belief precedes outer change, you reclaim your power as the conscious creator of your life. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances, the opinions of others, or the apparent randomness of events. Instead, you learn that by mastering your inner convictions, by carefully choosing the assumptions you inhabit, you have the ability to shape your reality at will. The world reflects back what you believe. And as you change your assumptions, the world inevitably reshapes itself in perfect alignment with your inner vision. Your attention is the most powerful tool you possess, for it is the conduit through which your inner world impresses itself upon the outer world. Where your mind dwells, what you consistently focus on, and the images you entertain with intensity all carry a magnetic force capable of shaping your reality. Every moment spent thinking, imagining, or dwelling upon a particular state of affairs is an investment of creative energy. The mind does not discriminate between reality and imagination. It responds to the insistence, persistence, and intensity of the thought or image held before it. This is why attention is more than a mental exercise. It is the driving force that pulls your desires from the unseen into tangible expression. Consider how easily your mind can become absorbed in worries, fears, or doubts. Each time you fix your attention on scarcity, limitation, or failure, you are unconsciously projecting those states outward, attracting circumstances that reflect them back to you. Conversely, when you deliberately place your attention on a state of fulfillment, success, or joy, you are engaging a magnetic principle that draws experiences, opportunities, and people into alignment with that focus. Attention, therefore, is not a passive act. It is the very engine of creation. Where your consciousness lingers, energy flows, and reality bends accordingly. Persistent imagination is key. Casual thoughts, fleeting fantasies, or half-hearted wishes lack the power to shape reality. It is the sustained, vivid, and emotionally charged attention to a desired state that acts as a creative signal to the subconscious. The subconscious mind, which governs the circumstances of life, receives this signal and works ceaselessly to orchestrate conditions that correspond to the inner focus. Every repeated thought and every carefully nurtured image strengthens the magnetic force, gradually attracting the outer reality that mirrors the inner vision. The attention you give to a scene or state is the measure of the force you unleash. Awareness of this principle allows you to become the conscious architect of your life. You can choose deliberately where your attention rests, what images you nourish, and which assumptions you hold. By focusing on what you want rather than what you fear, you direct the unseen forces to work in your favor. Every hour spent imagining your desired reality, feeling it as already accomplished, and dwelling on it with satisfaction increases the alignment between your inner world and outer circumstances. Attention shapes perception. When your mind dwells on abundance, opportunity, and success, you begin to perceive evidence of these states everywhere. The world becomes a mirror reflecting back your chosen focus. By mastering where you place your attention, you not only attract experiences, but also cultivate a perception that reinforces your chosen reality. The energy of attention is magnetic, creative, and relentless. It draws what you persistently imagine into manifestation. When you understand that attention is creative energy, you realize the immense responsibility and freedom it grants. Every moment, every thought, every feeling is a seed planted in the soil of consciousness. Tend your inner garden carefully, nourish the scenes you desire, and watch as reality unfolds in perfect harmony with the focus and energy you invest. Your mind is the magnet, and your attention is the force that shapes everything around you. Persistence is the lifeblood of manifestation. A fleeting assumption, a passing thought, or a momentary daydream cannot imprint itself upon reality. It lacks the consistency and intensity required to influence the subconscious mind. True creation requires a sustained inner reality, a state of consciousness held firmly, continuously, and with conviction. The world you see outside is a faithful reflection of the state you occupy within. If your inner assumption is weak or temporary, the outer world wavers and resists. But if you persistently inhabit a mental and emotional state, reality bends inexorably to mirror it. Manifestation is not instant magic. It is the inevitable result of sustained focus and unwavering attention. To persist is to live daily in the assumption of your desire fulfilled. It is not enough to imagine success or fulfillment briefly. You must inhabit the feeling and the experience as though it already exists. This requires discipline of the mind, consistency of attention, and the emotional conviction that your desired state is real and permanent. When you persist, you are planting seeds in the fertile soil of the subconscious mind, watering them with feeling and allowing them time to grow. The outer world, responding faithfully, begins to reflect these inner seeds, bringing circumstances, events, and opportunities into alignment with your assumed state. Persistence also acts as a shield against doubt and the conflicting appearances of the world. The outer environment may seem contradictory, full of obstacles, delays, or discouragements. But when your inner state remains constant, the outer world cannot resist the force of your sustained assumption indefinitely. The universe is patient, and it works in perfect harmony with consciousness, eventually producing results that align with what has been held firmly in mind. Doubts, fears, and distractions are temporary storms. The persistent assumption, rooted in certainty, endures, and the world ultimately reshapes itself in accordance with it. Persistence transforms your identity. As you consistently assume the state you desire, you begin to live from that state, think from that state, and act from that state. You no longer identify with lack, limitation, or delay. Your consciousness embodies fulfillment, success, and abundance. This internal consistency generates a magnetic force that attracts people, circumstances, and events into harmony with your inner reality. The more you persist, the more natural it becomes to inhabit your desired state, until living in it feels effortless and real. Persistence demonstrates faith without words. It is a silent conviction that your desire is already accomplished, expressed not in declarations or appeals, but in the unshakable inner reality you maintain. The outer world, incapable of resisting this steady force, gradually conforms. What was once imagined, held, and persisted in the mind now manifests visibly, tangibly, and inevitably. The touch, visibly, perceivably, and inevitably. Persistence is therefore not merely a technique. It is the essence of creation. A sustained inner reality is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. By holding fast to your assumptions, you ensure that your desires move from the unseen realm of consciousness into the tangible world, consistently, inevitably, and powerfully. To manifest your desires, it is not enough to assume, imagine, and persist. You must also learn the art of release and trust. Acting from the certainty of your fulfilled desire means embodying the state of having already achieved what you long for, while relinquishing any concern over how it will appear in the external world. The mind that clings to method, timing, or circumstance is divided, and therefore weak. True creation requires full faith in the inner reality you have assumed, coupled with the understanding that the unseen, your subconscious mind, guided by the law of consciousness, will orchestrate the necessary events and opportunities in perfect harmony with your inner state. Release does not imply indifference. It is not a passive abandonment of effort or imagination, but an active living from the reality of fulfillment. You continue to dwell in the feeling of your wish already realized, to act and think from that state, and to hold the inner conviction that it is done. The unseen world responds to this unwavering inner certainty, arranging circumstances, attracting people, and opening doors that could never have been conceived by conscious effort alone. When you trust the process, you allow the creative intelligence within you to work without interference, manifesting outcomes in ways far greater and more harmonious than your limited imagination could engineer. Trust also eliminates resistance. When the mind is preoccupied with worry, doubt, or impatience, it generates tension that disrupts the natural flow of manifestation. Releasing and trusting the process means surrendering all concern over the how and when. The outer world, which seems chaotic and unpredictable, is in fact responding precisely to your inner state. By letting go of attachment to results and focusing solely on the certainty of fulfillment, you create a fertile environment for miracles to occur. The universe does not need your instructions. It only requires your inner clarity, focus, and faith. This practice nurtures peace and confidence. Acting from the state of having already received your desire transforms anxiety into calm, struggle into ease, and uncertainty into unwavering conviction. You no longer chase reality. Reality flows to meet you. Each action you take, each word you speak, and each thought you entertain emanates from a place of assurance and alignment. This state of trust magnifies your creative power, attracting synchronicities, solutions, and opportunities that are perfectly timed and suited to your fulfilled state. Release and trust deepen your understanding of the creative law. They teach that manifestation is not a process of forcing events, but of aligning consciousness with the desired reality and allowing the unseen to do its work. The more you trust, the more effortless and miraculous the process becomes. The details are not for you to orchestrate. They unfold naturally when your inner reality is firmly assumed. By combining assumption, persistence, and faith with release, you become a conscious co-creator, allowing the universe to bring forth the exact expressions of your desire in the most perfect way. In conclusion, the power to shape your reality lies entirely within you. Your imagination is the seed, your assumptions are the blueprint, and your sustained inner states are the forces that bring your desires into manifestation. By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, nurturing unwavering belief, focusing your attention, persisting in your inner reality, and releasing with trust, you align yourself with the natural law that governs creation. Reality is not a separate force to be conquered. It is a faithful reflection of your consciousness, ready to mirror whatever state you inhabit. Embrace this truth, live from the certainty of your fulfilled desires, and watch as the world reshapes itself to align with the reality you hold within. Every circumstance, every opportunity, every encounter responds to the energy you maintain, and the universe is always ready to mirror back your inner convictions. Thank you for opening your mind and heart to this understanding. Step forward with faith. Persist in your assumptions, trust the process, and allow your reality to unfold in perfect harmony with your imagination. Your power to create is already within you. Claim it, live it, and experience the life you have always imagined. Thank you. Beloved, hear this truth. Massive wealth is not fixed, not locked away in vaults, not reserved for a select few. It is alive, it is moving, it is energy responding to consciousness. Like waves rising and falling, wealth is on the move, seeking a vessel that dares to receive it. And today, that vessel is you. The wealth you desire is already in motion. It is shifting hands, moving through channels, waiting for one thing only: recognition. The moment you claim it within, the outer movement bends in your direction. You do not wait for the world to confirm it. You become the confirmation. You become the signature on the check before the ink ever touches the page. Massive wealth is on the move, and it does not travel to hesitation or doubt. It travels to faith, to inner acceptance, to the one who has made room. If you can imagine it, if you can feel the reality of abundance flowing through your life right now, then it is yours, already in seed form. The harvest is inevitable. Wealth responds to expectation. If you rise each day certain that the flood is coming, then the flood cannot be withheld. Doubt is the only dam. Remove it, and the current will rush to you. The flow of wealth does not discriminate, it obeys alignment. It seeks out the one who has already received it in consciousness and simply mirrors that truth outwardly. Do not live as though wealth is on the way. Live as though it has arrived. Think with abundance. Speak with abundance. Act with abundance. See yourself as the custodian of massive riches, and the outer world has no choice but to conform. Beloved, get ready. Wealth is moving. It is moving toward you now. Stand in readiness, not in waiting. Prepare your mind, prepare your words, prepare your actions. The current has already turned in your favor. The river is carrying massive wealth to your shore. Stretch out your hands in faith, for it is yours already. Massive wealth is on the move. Get ready, for your time is now. Wealth is energy in circulation, alive, breathing, and moving through the universe like a vast, unending river. To think of money as stagnant, locked away, or scarce is to misunderstand its very essence. Money is never still. It is always on the move, changing hands, shifting accounts, flowing through ideas, dreams, and exchanges. It is not owned, it is entrusted. It does not stop, it circulates. And just as the river bends itself to the shape of the land it flows through, so does wealth bend itself to the current of your imagination. The truth is, money is not created by hard labor alone, nor is it secured by fear of losing it. It multiplies where circulation is allowed and contracts where doubt and resistance block its path. Like water, wealth stagnates when it is hoarded with fear, but it thrives and expands when it is moved with faith, vision, and purpose. This is why the richest among us are not necessarily those who hold tightly, but those who understand the rhythm of flow. the giving, the receiving, the directing of energy with clarity and confidence. Every thought you hold is a channel, and every belief you sustain is a bank into which this river can either overflow or dry up. If your imagination runs on ideas of lack, struggle, and limitation, you have built dams that restrict the flow. But if your inner world runs on images of abundance, generosity, and free circulation, you have carved wide channels that invite the river to flood your life. Wealth does not resist expansion, it resists fear. It moves freely toward the one who treats it as energy, not as an idol. Imagine money not as paper or digits, but as a living current responding to your direction. The universe is filled with this current, and it waits for you to command it by what you dare to accept as true. If you imagine yourself wealthy, not someday, not maybe one day, but now, if you step into the identity of wealth, speak from it, act from it, feel from it, the current adjusts itself accordingly and begins to circulate into your reality. This is not wishful thinking. It is law. The inner state is always the cause, and the outer movement is always the effect. Think of wealth as a conversation between your inner world and the world around you. If you speak inwardly in the language of abundance, the world answers with overflow. If you speak in the language of lack, the world echoes back scarcity. Money hears what you believe, not what you beg for. It flows toward faith, toward certainty, toward the one who already carries the vibration of wealth in their being. So, do not chase money as though it were running from you. Instead, recognize that it is already in circulation, already moving, already flowing, and you are the one who chooses whether it flows to you or around you. Directed by imagination, guided by expectation, allow it by faith. Wealth is energy in circulation. And once you align yourself with its rhythm, you will find it coming to you in ways so effortless, so abundant, and so perfect that you will know the river was never absent. It was waiting for you to open the gates. Your inner claim creates outer transfer, for nothing moves in the visible world until it is first owned in the invisible. Wealth does not fall into the hands of the one who waits for the world to approve, to validate, or to confirm. It moves toward the one who, in the silence of their own imagination, dares to accept it as already theirs. The transfer of riches, opportunities, and resources always begins with an unseen claim. Before a house is purchased, it is owned in mind. Before a business is built, it is operated in imagination. Before money changes accounts, it shifts possession in consciousness. To claim wealth inwardly is not merely to wish for it. It is to stand in the certainty that it belongs to you now. It is to take possession of it. In the only place possession truly begins, the realm of thought and feeling. The world will always trail behind the inner claim, for the outer is but a shadow cast by the inner light. If you accept inwardly that wealth is yours, then outer transfer must follow. It cannot resist, for the world is compelled to reflect what you inwardly hold as true. Too many people wait to see the evidence before they believe. They wait for the digits in the bank account to rise before they feel rich, or for an opportunity to knock before they see themselves as chosen. But this waiting is backwards, for it keeps the transfer delayed. The true master of wealth claims first in spirit, knowing the claim itself is the cause that produces the evidence. When you inwardly accept wealth, when you feel its reality, when you walk in its identity, even before it has appeared, you have initiated the movement of transfer. Consider the nature of inheritance. A son or daughter may not yet touch the estate, but once the claim has been recognized within, the transfer is assured. In the same way, wealth is waiting for the rightful heir, the one who accepts their inheritance not tomorrow, not one day, but now. Your willingness to believe it is yours now makes you heir to the invisible vault that contains all abundance. When you claim wealth inwardly, the outer world begins to organize itself in ways unseen to bring about the transfer. Circumstances rearrange, opportunities surface, connections appear, and pathways open. It may look like coincidence, but it is alignment. The world is merely moving to honor the claim you have already staked within yourself. This is why those who possess unshakable certainty seem to magnetize wealth. They have claimed what others only wish for. Do not wait for the world to give you permission to be wealthy. Do not postpone your inheritance to a distant future. Accept it now. Feel the ownership in your heart, and the transfer cannot be denied. For wealth is not chasing the doubter. It is moving toward the one who already knows. When you accept it inwardly as yours, the universe acknowledges your claim and begins the transfer. What was once unseen becomes visible, what was once distant draws near, and what was once desired becomes possessed. Massive shifts begin in silence, for every great movement in life first takes root in the unseen world. The outer realm that you touch, taste, and count is only the echo of what was already decided within. Before numbers appear on a screen, before opportunities present themselves, before the phone rings or the letter arrives, something moves silently in consciousness. The seed is planted in thought and watered by feeling, long before the harvest of visible wealth is reaped. The silence within you is not empty, it is charged with creative power. It is the womb of all manifestations, the unseen workshop where the shapes of your future are drawn. When you quiet the noise of fear, doubt, and distraction, you begin to hear the inner confirmation, the soft but undeniable assurance that what you have claimed is already yours. This confirmation is not loud, it does not shout, but it speaks with authority. It is a feeling of peace, a sense of finality, the inner knowing that no outer evidence can shake. That stillness is the true birthplace of wealth. So many people rush to act, to chase, to scramble, believing the movement of the outer world is the cause of success. But the wise know that stillness precedes action, and silence precedes movement. The invisible shift is always the first shift. Once the inner state has been accepted, once you feel yourself as the one who already possesses the wealth, the rest is inevitable. The world simply rearranges itself to align with what has already taken place in the unseen. Think of how a tree begins. The towering oak that shades generations begins as a seed buried in silence, hidden beneath the soil where no eye can see. For weeks or months, there is no visible evidence of growth. Yet within, roots are forming, strength is gathering, life is preparing. And when the sprout breaks through the ground, the shift has already happened. The tree existed long before it was seen. So it is with wealth. The transfer, the abundance, the opportunity, it all begins underground in the quiet corridors of your imagination. By the time it shows itself in your bank account or in your hands, it has long been established. This is why faith feels the result before sight. Faith is the inner confirmation, the certainty that the shift is real though the world has not yet caught up. If you can sit in silence and feel wealthy, if you can rest in the quiet assurance that the transfer is already complete, then nothing can stop its appearance. The outer must mirror the inner, and the silence is the proof that it is done. Do not fear the waiting. The silence is not delay, it is creation. It is in that stillness that your wealth is shaping itself, preparing its path, arranging its delivery. Trust the unseen movement. Rest in the confirmation you feel deep within. For once you know it is done in silence, you can walk into the world with confidence. The shift has already taken place. What you are waiting to see is only the shadow of what has already been completed. Massive wealth, massive change, massive opportunity. All begin in silence. And once the silence has spoken, the world has no choice but to follow. Nari, receive in consciousness first, for nothing is ever added to your life until it is first accepted within. The outer world is only a mirror, faithfully reflecting the deposits you have already made in imagination. Many wait for money to arrive before they feel rich, for opportunities to appear before they feel chosen, for circumstances to improve before they feel secure. Yet this waiting is backward, for the true receiving is never external first. It is always internal. The only requirement is to make room within, to stretch the inner vessel wide enough to hold the wealth you desire, and the world will rush to fill it. Imagination is the true bank, the divine account where deposits clear instantly. The moment you accept an image of wealth as real within, the transaction is complete in the unseen. The ledger is marked, the balance updated, and though your physical eyes may not yet see the increase, it has already been settled. This is why one person can walk with a sense of prosperity, though they have little, and soon the outer world conforms to their inner account. Another may cling to visible wealth yet feel poor inside, and the outer balance slowly dwindles to reflect the inner emptiness. Consciousness is always the first place where the account is credited. To receive in consciousness is to dare to accept as real what your senses deny. It is to take hold of the invisible with such certainty that the visible cannot resist. You need not know the how or the when. Those are the details the universe arranges. Your part is to open the vault of your inner being, to allow the deposit to rest in imagination without resistance. Just as a bank does not question the legitimacy of a check once it is cleared, imagination does not question what you accept with faith. It stamps it approved and begins circulating the funds into your reality. This is why preparation of mind and heart matters more than preparation of outer plans. You could have the best strategy, the strongest effort, and still find yourself blocked if inwardly you have not received. Yet a person who has accepted wealth in consciousness will find doors swinging open, opportunities presenting themselves, and resources flowing without strain. The inner acceptance is the magnet. The outer is simply the iron filings gathering to match it. So ask yourself, have you made room within, or are you still holding onto images of lack, fear, and limitation that crowd out the new deposit? A bank account cannot be credited where space is not available, and neither can consciousness. Release the thoughts of poverty, the feelings of unworthiness, the doubts that whisper, "Not for me." Empty yourself of the old so that the new may take its place. Receive in consciousness first. Walk as though the deposit is already in your hand. Speak as though the balance has already increased. Think as though the account is overflowing. The moment you do, the unseen records it as done, and soon the outer world will bear witness to what you have already received within. For the imagination never delays, it clears every deposit instantly. Expectation is the magnet, the unseen pull that draws wealth, opportunities, and abundance into your life with irresistible force. To expect without doubt is not passive wishing, it is active attraction. It is the quiet command to the universe that what you seek is already seeking you. Just as iron cannot resist the pull of a magnet, so wealth cannot resist the pull of unwavering expectation. Where doubt creates repulsion, faith creates attraction. The strength of your expectation determines the speed and certainty with which wealth flows toward you. Consider the difference between hope and expectation. Hope says, I wish this would happen, maybe one day. Expectation says, it is on its way, and I am ready to receive it now. Hope leaves the door half open, expectation throws it wide. Hope trembles, expectation stands tall. Hope wavers, expectation rests secure. The universe responds not to hope, but to certainty. For certainty carries the vibration of completion. When you rise each day with the inner knowing that abundance is moving toward you, you set in motion currents unseen. Opportunities begin to appear, doors open, and resources flow in ways your logical mind could never predict. Why? Because expectation aligns your inner state with the reality you desire, and the outer world must follow. The law is simple. What you expect, you attract. What you doubt, you delay. Expectation is not forced, it is chosen. It is not a tense demand, but a calm assurance. It is the child who, after asking for food, goes to sit at the table with full confidence that the meal is being prepared. There is no fear, no question, no need to beg again. The child expects, and therefore the supply appears. Likewise, when you expect wealth, you do not keep checking or worrying. You simply prepare yourself to receive, because you know the magnet is already at work. To expect without doubt requires discipline of mind. It means refusing to rehearse lack, refusing to magnify fear, refusing to let temporary appearances shake your conviction. Expectation is built by rehearsing the end result so clearly, so often, that it becomes the only reality you recognize. You cannot attract what you secretly believe is impossible. You can only draw to yourself what you have made normal in your imagination. When abundance becomes normal within, it must become normal without. This is why those who carry a sense of inevitability about wealth seem to attract it so easily. They are not surprised when it arrives, for they were already living in the reality of its certainty. Their expectation was the magnet that pulled it from the unseen into the seen. So do not ask if wealth will come, expect it. Do not wonder if opportunities will find you, expect them. Do not question if abundance belongs to you, expect it as your natural inheritance. For as surely as iron rushes to meet the magnet, massive wealth rushes to meet the one who lives in unwavering expectation. Live as though it has arrived, for nothing draws wealth closer than embodying the identity of one who already possesses it. The great mistake most people make is waiting for the evidence before stepping into the role, waiting for numbers in the bank before feeling rich, waiting for opportunities before acting prepared. Yet life mirrors not what you wait for, but what you live. If you wish to see wealth materialize, you must first take the posture of the wealthy within yourself. Walk as though the transfer is complete. Spend with the wisdom of one entrusted with abundance. Think from the place of overflow. And the world has no choice but to align with your inner state. To live as though it has arrived is not about reckless spending or pretending with false pride. It is about assumption, assuming the role of custodian of wealth, assuming the character of abundance, assuming the life of prosperity. When you hold this identity in consciousness, the outer world bends to match it. You are not trying to become wealthy, you are living from the end as one already chosen and appointed. The vibration of already carries creative power far greater than the vibration of someday. Imagine two people, one who constantly says, I will be rich, and another who says, I am rich now. The first lives in postponement, forever chasing a future that never comes. The second lives in arrival, walking in possession even before the evidence shows itself. The world hears the second voice, honors it, and produces conditions that match it. For reality is not responding to your wishes, it is responding to your state of being. When you walk as though wealth is already yours, your decisions shift. You no longer think in terms of survival, but in terms of stewardship. You no longer speak with doubt, but with authority. You no longer fear opportunity slipping away, for you know you are the custodian of plenty, and plenty always finds its keeper. This shift in identity influences how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you interact with others, and in return, the world treats you according to the identity you have assumed. Wealth is not only a number, it is an atmosphere. To live as though it has arrived is to carry that atmosphere within you everywhere you go. You radiate confidence, calmness, generosity, and vision. People feel it before they see the evidence. And because the world mirrors your vibration, doors open, resources flow, and opportunities appear to confirm what you already live. Do not postpone the role. Take it now. When you dress, dress as one entrusted with wealth. When you speak, speak as one who knows abundance belongs to them. When you plan, plan from the place of already, not from the fear of not yet. This is not play acting, it is creation. For the universe has no choice but to respond to the one who already lives as though it is done. Walk, spend, and think from the identity of one chosen as custodian of great wealth, and watch as the invisible quickly takes form. What you dare to embody inwardly will soon stand before you outwardly. The wealth has arrived in consciousness. Now watch it materialize in your world. Beloved, we have journeyed together through the unseen river of wealth, through the inner clone, through silence, expectation, and the posture of already living in abundance. The truth has been made clear. Wealth is not something to be chased, nor is it something withheld. It is energy in motion, seeking the one bold enough to receive it within first. The world you see is only the shadow. The real transaction happens in consciousness. And once you have made the deposit there, the outer transfer cannot be stopped. Massive wealth is not a distant dream. It is a present reality, moving, shifting, flowing even now. The only question is, will you stand ready to receive it? Will you live as though it has already arrived? Will you dare to claim it, expect it, and walk in the identity of the custodian of great wealth? If you do, the universe itself must conspire to confirm your truth. So rest in assurance, walk in confidence, and prepare for overflow. Wealth is already on the move, and it is moving in your direction. Accept it, live it, be it, and soon you will hold in your hands what you have already embraced in your heart. Thank you for receiving these words. Thank you for daring to believe, and thank you for preparing yourself for the abundance that is already yours.